Guys, this is Bobby Douglas. Welcome to the first/second full game breakdown of the 2021 NBA draft cycle. I'm sorry it took so long between parts 1 and 2 of this Sharife Cooper video. I just got kind of stuck with moving out of college, and I did some other videos as well. I was out of town for a weekend. So now we're back, though. Every single day will be a new video, a new player. So we're excited to get into that, and let's get right to it. Sharife Cooper, second half. He's going to be number 2 in the white, and let's go. So we have... So the first half, we saw a lot of just like what makes Sharife Cooper's identity as a prospect. The passing vision was there, the creativity was there, but then also some of his flaws, like his shooting motion, was very just apparently shaky. And other than that, it's just kind of like his defense and overall viability on that end will definitely be an issue for him in the NBA. So right now, you can see Auburn's in a man, and Cooper is guarding Devontae Shuler. Actually, it looks more of like a extended 2-3 perhaps, but Ole Miss is going to get on the floor, and here's Cooper. Good job getting into his defender right there. There's no foul call right there, and that's the kind of defensive intensity that Cooper's going to have to bring, just being that feisty point of attack guy who can disrupt ball handlers, maybe stop some transition breakaways for the offense. And, you could see him on the floor hustling, and, that we talked about this in the first half video. But that's the reason why Auburn's team really just kind of gravitated towards Cooper. Just that overall hustle and just his willingness to be a total team player despite having draft aspirations, despite pretty clearly being a one-and-done type of player. Only ended up playing 12 games this year due to injuries and eligibility issues. But, when he was out there, he was clearly the leader of this Auburn team, and that really can't go unnoticed. Right there, really good job drawing that roll defender, and then Cooper's going to hit number 23 for a really nice pick-and-pop 3. And again, just manipulating ball screens is just part of Cooper's bread and butter, and we saw that right there with that screen and roll, or screen and pop, I should say. So again, you can see now Auburn's in that zone that I talked about in the first half, and you can see that Cooper is being put right at the free throw line, and they're trying to hide him with that because he is the weakest defender on the floor for Auburn. And so he's being hidden, trying to just make Auburn a little bit more viable defensively from a team standpoint. Right here, Ole Miss is extending their press. I thought this was rather effective against Cooper when he didn't do that. Let's watch that again. So Cooper's going to get the ball, and immediately he sees that this guy in the dunker spot is behind the defense. So this guy for Ole Miss needs to be back and watching the rim. Cooper sees that he's not in position. He's immediately going to fire a beautiful no-look pass for the wide-open dunk. So when Cooper gets trapped aggressively, you saw him turn the ball over just because he's not big enough to see over the defense. But, if you give him an inch of space, he can deliver pinpoint passes. So he's really just an interesting prospect in that regard. We got a timeout early for Ole Miss. And we're back. So again, a little bit of a miscommunication. You can see, yeah, Cooper's a little bit out of sorts. Good job recovering to Shuler. Good job fighting over that screen and then staying with the roller. And right there, you got to make sure that you're staying with that guy. But good job calling out the late switch by Cooper. And again, right there, just kind of overcommits. Really undisciplined closeout by Cooper right there. Just not balanced. Didn't have choppy feet. Just kind of was sprinting at the guy and then ran. And was ultimately beat off the dribble. Got a loose ball here, and could have been an alley-oop. So now we see Cooper on the ball. And again, he's engaged defensively, just sometimes doesn't really make the right play. He could be a little bit too aggressive, can get lost on switches, things like that. But I do like that he's kind of energetic in that role. And you can see him just totally setting up the offense here. It's pass the ball and get it right back if you're Cooper right here. He's going to get a ball screen into a pick and pop. So right there, that's kind of another issue with Cooper too, is just that how does he finish through length at the rim? And this is a perfect example right here. He does a good job getting by this defender, but you can just see he needs to be so much ahead of the defense in order to even get a clean look off. So, a lot of defenders can recover pretty easily due to his size. And we'll see that right here. So again, really nice dribble crossover right here between the legs. And you can see this guy is just going to ride him. Cooper does a good job trying to shake this guy, but then the help defender right here is just going to block it. We got an offensive rebound. Cooper's going to take the 3 and miss that. And again, we talked about it in the first half video, just very mechanical in his shot form. My theory as to why he kind of leans back and catapults it is probably because he was probably short all of his life, and he kind of needed a way to get space. You know, and I think just kind of leaning back allowed him to kind of get a little bit more separation from the defender. And I think he just never really grew out of that habit as he got quicker than most of his opponents. So I think that's probably my main theory on that, but obviously there are a lot of others. Cooper out of the inbounds. Again, really, I don't know what Ole Miss is doing in their ball screen coverages. You can't do that with Cooper. So right here, it looks like Ole Miss is trying to play a drop coverage, and I don't really understand why. Number 23 is just going to flare out to the wing, and Cooper's going to find him immediately. This is just prime Cooper right here, just super easy for him. So right here, there's a miscommunication defensively. It leaves 23 wide open. Cooper recognizes it immediately, and there's a late closeout, wide open 3. Bang. And again, just if Cooper, that's the thing too, because like that's the type of play where if Cooper was a shooter, that could be a lot more prevalent in the NBA, just because if he has that gravity as a shooter, it really kind of draws defenses in and opens up a lot of kick-out passes like that we just saw. But because he's not really a shooting threat, I don't think that's very likely to happen, at least not right away. If he develops that shot and gets it a little bit quicker and gets a better release, I could see it maybe happening in the future. But right now, and I think the best projectable outcome for him is just to be kind of like a spark plug creator off the bench in a rather limited usage role, at least early. Got a turnover. Nope, not a turnover here, but remember, this game goes into overtime as well, so part 2 will be, we got to travel here. Part 2 will be the second half and overtime, just FYI. And here, Auburn's in that 1-3-1 zone. They're putting Cooper in the middle of that. Again, that's to hide him defensively. Let's see how he does here. And again, just draws the foul right there. Doesn't really have the length or just the athleticism vertically to really contest that, and it leads to free throws. Let's see what we got here. Doesn't look like they're going to set a ball screen for him. Looks like a little play for Alan Flanagan to get in that mid-post role. Cooper does a nice job finding him. Not really much going on with him as a player in that regard, however. So Auburn's back in man, and Cooper's tasked with Devontae Shuler, who was a very good SEC player for a few years. Right there, we saw this. This is just a little thing right here. But you're going to see on the little pass fake by Shuler, Cooper's going to get caught in the air. There was a play like this in the first half that was a lot more detrimental. It led to a basket for Ole Miss. But just kind of staying disciplined and staying glued to the floor in this sense. So we're going to see it right here. So right here, you can see Cooper just kind of leaves his feet a little bit too early. It's not really a pass fake. It's more of just like a pass. But right there, he's going to allow Devontae Shuler, if he wants it, to just go down right through Main Street and get the layup. Shuler doesn't take advantage of that. But just kind of those little things where Cooper, I think, really needs to just, in order to be a passable defender, he can't be taking gambles like that. Because obviously, like him jumping it's just like throwing the ball over a 6'4" guy, right? So it doesn't really add a lot of impact. So he's much better just staying glued to the floor, being a solid team defender, and just getting in the way of passing lanes rather than trying to get steals and things like that. So again, right here, this is where Shuler could have easily cut to the basket right here. This was wide open, but he didn't take advantage of it. See right there, Cooper gets a little bit caught up on the cut from Shuler and just doesn't really have elite foot speed either defensively. I don't think his technique is all that great as well. So it looks like Ole Miss is in a 2-3. Now fallbacks. Yeah, it looks like now it looks like a man, but we got no call there, and here come the Rebels. Ole Miss's uniforms, by the way, 10 out of 10. They are fantastic. So Cooper's in help side right now. Not much he's doing right there. We got a timeout from Auburn, and I believe Cooper is... Oh, no, he's not out. He's in for a little bit more. But he's going to be out for a little bit, and then he'll come back in for the rest of the game. So again, now Ole Miss is clearly in this 2-3 right here. And again, they're trying to deny penetration from Cooper. And so Auburn, you could see going to that 1-3-1 offensive set to combat the 2-3 zone, which is a very popular method of doing that. And so now he's going to get the ball screen, and it's just going to be a simple switch. And again, not really much action going on there. Somehow banked that 3, and even though it's a pretty good rotation from Ole Miss defensively, Cooper just makes the right play, and Allen Flanagan hits a really tough shot. Good recognition by Cooper right there, noticing that his man is dead with the ball, so he pressures up a little bit more. That's just solid. Oh, my, Auburn. Okay, good. They got the ball back, but that's just good recognition from Cooper. Basic recognition, but, you know, at least he's doing that nonetheless. That's a really good pass. Hopefully he makes that 3. So, no, I want to replay that pass, though, because Cooper does a good job first utilizing this screen and then utilizing the jump stop here. And then he's going to look off, I think, this defender by faking a pass to the dunker right here. And he's going to fire a corner pass to the corner 3. So right here you could see he draws this defender in, and you could already see in the air he already knows who he's going to. And it leads to a wide open 3. So if Cooper can just, honestly, like, in a way, like, there is something to be said about Cooper kind of being utilized in this short roll. So, like, let's say for an example, I'll just again, really good job by Cooper getting up the floor right here. You can see they're not even, by the time he's already at the 3-point line. By the time the camera switches back, good job reading that pocket pass right there to Flanagan, and there's a layup. But I could see a world in which, let's say he ends up on the Pelicans, right, where Zion runs a lot of point guard, right, and what the Pelicans do, they run a lot of inverted pick and roll. And I could easily see Cooper kind of being that short roll guy to create space in the 4-on-3 situation and just create passing angles, as Cooper's going to be out for about 7 minutes here, so I'll skip ahead. But I could easily see him being like that type of player in a way, in spots. You know what I mean? It's just, he has that creative passing vision where if you get the ball to him in a spot where there's a clear advantage, he's going to find it 10 times out of 10. And so I think, you know, a team's going to have to be creative with Cooper just because he's not the traditional scoring. He doesn't have the traditional scoring acumen that most point guards have. But I think if you run him in like the short roll, or if you try and get him like in the teeth of the defense, have him planted there and then get the ball, maybe run him off the ball a little bit, there are definitely some roles that I think he could fill rather well. And so he's back, and we got 10 minutes left in the second half. So he's out for about 3 or 4 minutes. And right there, I want to see this again. So I think Cooper's responsible for the weak side tag here. I think there's going to be a slip screen. Let's see what happens here. So I don't know what happens there. So 44 needs to stop the ball here. And Cooper's kind of tasked with 2 guys. Yeah, that's just a miscommunication. I mean, that could be this guy. It's honestly number 10's fault for getting him in that scramble situation. But nonetheless, it's a defensive miscommunication, and Cooper's kind of the nail in the coffin for that possession. So here we go on the ball. Again, Cooper's going to get another ball screen. And this time they hedged it, and they got back, and Ole Miss recovered well. Cooper couldn't really do much off the dribble, and we got a turnover for Auburn. And so again, so you can see Cooper kind of just sinking into that middle of the floor area, just trying to be as invisible as possible defensively. And he just got shook by Schuler, and he's not going to make that shot. But again, just kind of that, because he's so small and his legs aren't that long, he has to overcommit a lot just to keep pace with some of the bigger guys he'll be guarding. And that's going to be an issue because then the bigger guys know how to manipulate that. They know how to attack times where the defender overcommits. And that's a charge. I don't know how, but that's a great pass. Let's watch this again. So again, I don't understand how. I'll rewind it 5 more seconds. So this is going to be in transition. And Cooper's going to get the ball here. And again, like this is kind of a tough situation. You'll see a lot of guys end up getting charge calls here just because they feel like they need to attack the ball, or attack the basket, excuse me. And you're going to see this defender here. He's probably going to take this middle guy. This guy's going to stop the ball. And Cooper realizes that this leaves the trailer wide open. And to throw the pass to the trailer in this situation takes a lot of just instinct. And Cooper does a really good job here, just finding that trailer. And it's going to be a charge on the, I'm going to say, was it a charge on Cooper? Oh, that's such a flop. Give me a break. That's a huge flop. He doesn't even, yeah, that's such a bad call. He's moving. Like, I don't understand how. College basketball, honestly, like, Mark Titus started this a few years ago, but they just need to ban charges, like, altogether. Honestly, NBA, any level of basketball, it's getting ridiculous at this point. The defense doesn't even play defense anymore. They're just trying to get charge calls. So, yeah, that's such bullshit. Sorry. We got a foul here. So now it's a 6-point game, so obviously Auburn was leading by, I think, at least 12 earlier, and now it's down to 6, and this game obviously goes into overtime. Very exciting ending as well, as Cooper is going to turn the ball over. Again, that's just kind of just trying to do too much, again, being bothered by length, and it's going to lead to a transition basket for Ole Miss. And so how does he adjust to that NBA length? You know, because people are going to be bigger in the NBA, but he's also going to have more space. So there's kind of like a two-sided sword to that. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how he kind of juxtaposes the ample amount of space and then meanwhile counteracting the increased size and strength of NBA defenders. So Cooper had a nice pass out of, I think it was an ATO play where they wanted Flanagan to run like a little Iverson cut, and Cooper did a nice job finding him. I think it's going to lead to free throws. So we'll skip these. Auburn back in this 1-3-1. Good job sneaking low, even though there's a huge mismatch right here. You can see the Ole Miss post guy trying to body Cooper. Good job just kind of getting out of that situation. But now he's on Romello White, I believe that is. And yeah, I don't know how there's, another foul. But you can see just Cooper's just getting mauled down low in those situations. Not to any fault of his own. I mean, you can't really do much against like a 6'8", 240 guy. But nonetheless, there's just some unavoidable limitations with Cooper, and that's why I have him so low compared to other people. A lot of people have him like borderline lottery. I don't really think that's feasible for him, even though he's one of the most exciting and fun players to watch in college basketball this past season. It's just kind of a shame that he's so small and doesn't have a very reliable jump shot. We got another foul. This game's getting very ugly. Oh, we got an injury. Never mind. So again, Auburn just in that 1-3-1 zone, and you're going to see Cooper kind of sink up. And see what he does here. And again, he kind of gets shook again, and she was going to knock down that three. Let's watch this again because so Cooper again, he has to overcommit because of the size difference, right? So he has to be there earlier. Because otherwise, if the offender and if Cooper's man and Cooper are there at the same time, his man will win the battle in getting to the spot just because he's bigger, okay? So Cooper has to overcommit. He bites on this little crossover by Schuler, and then he's late getting around the screen, and then he overcommits this way, and then Schuler's going to rise and fire from three. So again, I just think he needs to do a better job. I'd rather have him be a little bit late than have him try and gamble and be early, just because if he gambles and doesn't hit, then it's just a total scramble situation for his team defensively. Here we go. We got Cooper. Can someone give him a ball screen? We got another foul. Jeez. This is SEC wasteland basketball. I think I made a point of this last year. But the SEC, if you get two like middling SEC teams, just get ready for a 2.5-hour rock fight. Probably some of the most boring basketball you're gonna watch, like all season in college basketball. It just gets so ugly fast. Ooh, that would have been sick. Let's watch this again. So Cooper's gonna reject the ball screen. Really good job here. And again, he's really crafty offensively. Like the quickness doesn't really seem to translate defensively. And right here, really good job manipulating this defender into trying to take a charge. Good cut here, and they just didn't connect on the alley-oop. It looked like Cooper wanted a little drop-off pass, and number 35 wanted an alley-oop dunk. I mean, just that stuff happens. But Cooper did a nice job kind of manipulating the defense right there. Cooper gets blasted on the screen, and now they're going to do a little off-ball switching action. It looks like they're in a zone on the weak side. And, yeah, now they're back into that zone. And Cooper's going to get the ball here. Let's see what he does. We got another foul. God. Such a nightmare. And let's see what happens here. That's going to be goaltending. Yeah. So, yeah, nothing really Cooper could do right there. I mean, he's trying to get that ball. He's not Odell, so he's not going to get that pass. And he does a decent enough job trying to get back, but obviously that's not an optimal situation right there. Actually, that's kind of smart what he did. Ooh, I don't know about that. It's kind of smart what he did. I don't know if you saw it, but he kind of came up from underneath him and trying to, like, bat the ball out. That's a really good way to get away with, like, a reaching call. Instead of going over the top, you can go underneath. And that, it's much more difficult for the referee to see that. And so that's kind of just a good little heads-up play by Cooper. It's kind of like a last-ditch effort. We got another turnover here just because of the length and just the overall defensive pressure. The issue, too, is that when Cooper's pressured, he doesn't really have the length to kind of glide by his defender. He really has to work for everything. And so you look at guys who just get by their defenders so effortlessly, right? You look at a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for example, and he uses those really long strides to, just glide and float by his defender for his layup. Cooper doesn't really have that luxury. He's just, he's not big enough and he doesn't have long enough legs. And so it's just kind of like an issue for him. That's why I think he's really going to have to use a ton of space in the NBA in order to really thrive. That's a good pass. Cooper wasn't involved on that play, but good pass nonetheless. And again, you can see right here, Auburn's kind of just, they're stumbling a little bit. The ending of this game, too, is just phenomenal, just FYI. It's really fun, so make sure you guys stay tuned for the overtime portion of this video. Cooper does a much better job here. That's a really well-executed ball screen coverage by Auburn, and Cooper did a really nice job staying grounded, moving his feet, and just recovering extremely well. That was way better. Obviously, the shot goes in, but Cooper did a much better job defensively there. So we got another foul, and so both teams are in the bonus now, obviously, so there's going to be a shit ton of free throws. So now here we have Cooper on the ball. Good job having his head on a swivel. And again, not much really coming Cooper's way on that possession. Let's see what he does here. So Auburn's going to run a 4 flat. Looks like they're going to try and get JT Thor on a ball screen, perhaps. Nope, never mind. I don't know what they're doing. Okay, they ran this action earlier. It's just kind of this little. It's almost like a baseline pin down for Allen Flanagan to get the ball in the mid post. This time Cooper can't really get it to him. He's going to take a step back 3, and that's way off. I mean, that's not really his fault because there's really nothing going for him. There, Flanagan couldn't get himself open, and then Cooper kind of just has to take that shot. So, but you can see right there, that was like a huge lean back, just like a catapult type of issue. Good job staying attached on that pin down. And so Cooper's in on the weak side here, and they got a rebound. That's going to be a foul, yeah. So it looks like we got free throws and then a media timeout. It's been a pretty quiet half for Cooper this second half. I don't think he's even scored in this half, but in the first half he was pretty electric. I think he hit a few threes, so we kind of saw the good and the bad from Cooper today. He hasn't really been bad in this second half as much as he's been ineffective. And so now Ole Miss is kind of putting a lot of game pressure on Auburn. And we'll see what Cooper does. It looks like they're going to call a timeout. Nope. And so again, they're running the same thing where I think they're going to try and get Flanagan. Yep, there's Flanagan. Let's see what he does here. Flanagan was a guy, Allen Flanagan, the guy with the ball right now. He was a guy on a lot of people's NBA radars. I think he's coming back to Auburn. But he has, I think, potential to probably be a second-round pick in 2022. And another turnover for Auburn. And again, they've kind of Ole Miss has done a really good job taking Cooper out of the second half and not letting him get out in transition as much. Good rebound from JT Thor, and now Cooper's going to look to push. Oh, my goodness. Holy shit. Okay, so this is an offhand. This is a one-handed left-handed, so it's off. It's his offhand from about half court. He's just going to fire this in here for, oh my, this is insane. So right here, he sees it. This is a live dribble pass. He's going to get it to 44. I think he takes one more dribble. That's so impressive. Does this go in between two I think it goes through the two defenders at the free throw line. That's a ridiculous pass. Just as I said that Cooper wasn't really doing much in his half, he just gives us a gem. So good pass from Cooper there. And again, that's just kind of like the vision and the execution, the timing of his passes that are all just so pristine. And so, you know, that's the type of thing that you're kind of relying on with Cooper is if he's going to be a first-round draft pick. But again, get him to a team that doesn't need his shooting and just kind of needs just someone to set the table. Like, why not? Like, if you're, I mean, the Chicago Bulls don't really have a pick in this range, but if you're the Bulls, maybe him. If you are the Clippers, maybe him. If you're the Pelicans, you know, if you're a team like that, hell, if you're the Dallas Mavericks, right? Can you imagine having Luka and Sharife Cooper on the same floor? Just teams like that where they just kind of would need an extra playmaker. That would be pretty special. Cooper right there, not a great shot. That step back three. And again, he doesn't really generate a whole lot of space on those types of shots. And so he does lean back. Obviously, we've been over that at least 10 times in this video. Right there, Cooper needs to do a better job kind of just staying attached to his man. He kind of lets him get behind him. And again, I don't really know why he's trying to like pressure this guy so much. And it's just, again, it's just kind of like look at the leg length, right? So this guy's legs are way longer than Cooper's legs. So if they're at the same spot, this guy's going to have a clear run to the rim because he can just glide around Cooper. And so he does that here. And it's going to be a basket for Ole Miss, and they tie the game with a minute left in regulation. And we got a timeout now, so I will skip ahead. So there is a little bit of a chaotic inbounds. And Auburn looks pretty much like they're in shambles right now. Yeah, good job. Get the ball back to Cooper. Let's see what he does here. 10 on the shot clock. This is where I don't really like him in late clock situations because he doesn't really have that jump shot. And you can see he just doesn't really have any action. And it's going to be a jump ball. The little wedgie right there. And so again, if you're going I don't really see him as like a late clock creator at any point in his career. So that's not really what, and Auburn kind of had to use him like that just because they really didn't have anybody else. But that possession will not be indicative of his NBA career whatsoever. Just so we get that out of the way. We got Ole Miss ball, 32 seconds left. And remember, this game does go into overtime. So there will be another 5 minutes attached to the end of this video. And so Auburn's going into that, looks like a matchup zone. They're in a 1-3-1 right now, but a lot of times they'll go man out of it. And you can see Cooper in the middle right here. So he is going to be hidden defensively to the best of Auburn's ability. And so now they're matching up out of it. But you can see Cooper kind of float back to the middle, and then Flanagan's kind of tasked with taking the two weak side guys. 2-1-0. We're going to overtime in Ole Miss Auburn. So here we go. Last 5 minutes here, and Cooper with a ridiculous save to get the ball in Auburn's possession to start the game. And that, again, those types of hustle plays are what kind of draw me to Cooper a little bit more. You know, without his hustle, I wouldn't say he's a first-round pick. Right there, just kind of force up the left hand. Again, he struggles through length, so that's kind of a difficult shot for him, especially with the offhand. But we got Tech. Okay, but anyway, so you know, just the hustle for Cooper and just kind of like the intangibles that he brings, I think are legit. And so I think those are worth betting on as a first-rounder at this moment in time. And here's Cooper guarding the point guard. Ole Miss sometimes runs this. They ran that wheel action out of a Princeton 1-4 set right there with Schuler doing the Iverson cut. So Cooper on the weak side, not much going on for him there. Nothing he could do on that play. Relatively uninvolved. I don't know why Auburn went away from the ball screens. There we go. Yeah, now we got him back. Yep. All right. They probably had 44 for a second, but Ole Miss did a good job tagging and recovering. And now, so Cooper, late in the shot clock, once again, he's kind of tasked with being the creator for this Auburn team. Good job. That dribble move that he did right there kind of put Ole Miss in a scramble defensively. It led to an open look, but it was a really nice rotation by the Rebels, and they ultimately end up with the block there. But Cooper's kind of shiftiness with the ball in his hands kind of led to that little opportunity for Auburn. They just couldn't capitalize on it. Good job by Sharife there, just pushing the ball ahead, and again, just another really nice play by Ole Miss. And you can see right there, Cooper tried to flop and sell a charge call. Not a huge fan of that, but again, I kind of understand the thinking behind it. And you see, I think Cooper had that assist too, and the camera's not even the camera can't even catch up to Cooper's pace and transition right now, which is very funny. He just gets the ball and goes, and it leads to the Allen Flanagan layup. So here he is. Again, so right there you see it. So Auburn did a nice job kind of trapping Schuler out of this ball screen, but you could see that Cooper's trying to ice this ball screen, it looks like, and trying to force him to reject it. But by overcommitting, he kind of gives Schuler a little bit of a lane to drive if he wants it. So I'll pause it right. So again, he wants Cooper to take the screen, excuse me. But by just jumping this far, like he puts this guy in a pretty awkward position, but he does a rather nice job recovering. Another layup for Ole Miss. And so Cooper's kind of being stymied. It's been a half-court game in the second half, so we can't really get much going, and I think we're going to get free throws here. So we will watch him shoot free throws. So again, kind of just like he kind of has that banana shape to his back. It's kind of like this, in a little bit. So let's see him straighten that out. He misses that free throw. He was, I believe, a 82.5% free throw shooter, so obviously the touch is there. But obviously the three-point shot, 23% from the three, and overall just not a good shooter. 39% from the floor, so just kind of needs to work on his overall efficiency from scoring, because then that opens up passing lanes for him as well. So here's Cooper in the post. That's like, if that's gonna be the situation for Cooper, like, that's a win. Romello White hits a tough shot. Cooper had a hand in his face. Nothing else he could really do there. But again, that's just kind of one of those shots. It looks like a no call there. And again, Cooper just kind of tries to scoop it up with his left hand. Can't really get the bounce. So see how far he got pushed back there? Just like the strength needs to keep coming for him, I think. That's a very good defensive possession, though. Overall from Cooper, that's a really good defensive possession. He's sliding his feet, he's moving, he's staying attached, and then he ultimately uses those quick hands to strip the ball and lead a fast break for Auburn. Yeah, really good job there. And again, love how he has his eyes up. And that should be a make. Again, the live dribble passing is such a threat in the NBA. Allows guys to get up the floor super fast, and players will want to run the floor if they have a guy like Cooper on their team, just because they know they'll get the ball if they're open. And so Cooper, like, what is he doing right here? Obviously, there's nothing happening, but watch Cooper here, okay? He's just going to sprint up and try and, like, play linebacker or something instead of this. If there's a capable passer on Ole Miss, they hit this guy in the corner for an open three. Like, this is the type of stuff that makes me kind of shake my head. So, right, he sees that there's two guys here, and he's immediately just going to sprint to this guy, right? So, I don't understand. I guess in a vacuum, that's okay because JT Thor was late rotating over out of the ball screen. But again, like, I just don't really like this gamble right here. Allow Thor to kind of get back there because Cooper has too much responsibility guarding this guy right here. Schuler missed 3, and here comes Auburn. Another really good pass by Cooper, just getting it ahead, but Allen Flanagan's going to step out of bounds. I like the idea from Cooper. Flanagan just got to do a better job just kind of controlling himself. That's a really nice pass from Cooper, though. Leads him right into a nice spot on the floor. And it looks like we got a turnover for Ole Miss, so it's going to be Auburn ball. Jeez, they are just attacking these inbounds. It's an interesting little development from Auburn right there. I'm not sure I would have done the same thing. And we got a foul on Auburn, so we're going to be shooting 1-and-1 on the way back. And Schuler's going to make the first, make both. We got a timeout, something going on. Again, this is SEC Wasteland basketball at its finest. There's 40 seconds left in overtime. You think you're going to, go by quick, and there's got to be some long ref conversation. There's going to be a review. There's going to be something. There's going to be a flagrant one. And we got free throws here for Cooper. Good job just kind of attacking the defense and staying low, staying connected to the floor almost, and just kind of using that leverage that he gets from being so low and drawing the foul there. And again, good job with his handle. Not sure about the foul there. It seemed a little bit light, but regardless, Cooper makes the first free throw. See if he can make both. 2 minutes or 35 seconds left. He makes both. Big time free throws from Cooper. We got the press break from Auburn. It's going to be a... do they foul? Do they foul? I don't... Looks like they're going to... Oh, we got a... Jeez, this is... Oh, my. This is bananas. Okay. We got a turnover. Oh, my. Okay. Turnover. Cooper, open 3. No. JT Thor for 3. No. Rebound. Cooper. 3. Ah! Ah! Look at that. He gets the friendly roll off the bounce. Any way you can get it, in that situation, you can get it. So we got 10 seconds left. Cooper just hits the game-tying 3. Let's see what happens here in the last 5 seconds. Oh, no. Cooper on the ball. Good D. That's how it's going to end. That was good D by Cooper. He got his hands right in the cookie jar. He had a good contest. It's just... Oh, no. Nothing happens out of it, and there's 0.2 seconds left. Nothing comes out of it. And that will end the second half of the Sharife Cooper full game breakdown. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos throughout the entire run-up to the NBA draft on July 29th. I'll be posting a new player every single day until then. So make sure you guys stick around for that, and I will talk to you all tomorrow for a new video. Thank you, and goodbye.